This week, the world was united, the whole world, on one topic. Everybody was busy with the same thing. It wasn't the vaccines. It wasn't even the almost $2 trillion that the American government approved. It wasn't the numbers of sick or infected. None of this. It was something very important. The interview of Harry and Meghan. Everybody was busy with it. 50 million people watched it all over the world. Much easier to listen to this than to listen to the bad news of every day. This is entertaining. I think every 30 seconds advertisement on CBS was $335,000. And the media talks about it day and night for a whole week. No end to it. You know, the Rebbe used to tell us always, and the Baal Shem Tov said that whenever when you see something in life or you hear something, it's a lesson in the service of God. If so many people, Jews included, talked about the royalty and the princesses and the whole business of royalty that almost doesn't exist today in the world, kings and queens, it's one of a kind. In the Western world, for sure. There is a lesson for us. The Talmud says there is a concept, an halachic concept. Kol Israel bnei melachim hem. All the Jewish people are considered children of a king, princess, a prince and a princess, men and women. And it has a halachic ramification. For example, there's a Talmudic story about a rabbi told his son, go hire some workers to do something in the house. He went to that time, there's still available a market where you pick up workers who want to work for the day. He came back, he said, I hired a few people. He told them, you promised them, what do you promise them? He said, I promised them lunch too. He says, you told them what will be the menu? What are you going to feed them? He said, no, lunch. He says, go and tell them exactly what you're going to feed them, because if not, they can demand from you the meal of King Solomon on his best days. Why? Because they are children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They are princes, the prince. Every Jew is a prince. Every Jew is a son of a king. Every girl is a daughter of a king, and she deserves the world. And he went back and he told them exactly what he's going to give them. In today's world would be, I'm giving you pizza and a Coke, and don't expect anything more than that. The second example is, we have the mitzvah of reading the Shema. Every morning and every evening, it's written in the Shema, v'dibart bam, you should speak with the word of Torah, v'shivtecha bebeitecha, when you're home, u'belechtecha b'derech, when you go, and when you're on the road, u'b'shorbecha, when you lay down, u'v'komecha, when you wake up. And the Talmud tells us, when you lay down, not when you lay down, when regular people lay down, go to sleep, and when people wake up. What is the time that you can say that there is a discussion in the Mishnah, right in the beginning of the Talmud, the Masechet Brachot? What is the time for the morning Shema? When it starts and when it ends. Then it starts sunrise. For how long can you still fulfill the mitzvah of Shema? When it's considered waking up. The Talmud says 3 hours in the day. Why? Because this is the time that princesses wake up. It's children of the king, they sleep late. They don't get up by dawn to go to walk in the field. They sleep late. How late? 3 hours in the day. Let's say if sunrise is 6 o'clock in the morning and sunset is 6 o'clock in the evening, that's almost what's going on now. You divide it into 4 pieces. The first 3 hours, by 9 o'clock, is the time of Shema. Until 9 o'clock, you can read the Shema. And actually, I think in Cleveland, I think yesterday or the day before was 9:01. When you look at every Jewish calendar, there is a column, it's called Zmanim, times. Like there is a time for Friday night candle lighting. There's a time when Shabbos is over. There is a time until what time you can read the Shema. What is the time? The time that princesses get up in the morning. They are children of a king. That's the time. And there is another example. There is a man who owes money, Mr. A owes money to many people. But it's not collectible. He doesn't have any money in the bank. What are you going to do with him? But he wears a very expensive suit, a few $1,000s. That somebody goes to the Beit Din, one of the people he owes the money, he says, take from him the suit, confiscate the suit, give him a regular suit, we'll sell the suit, and the money you give back to the people you owe so much money. It makes sense. Comes Rabbi Akiva and said, every Jew deserves the most expensive suit. He's the son of a king. And if he says, you cannot take away from him his clothing that he's wearing. If this is his clothing, this is his clothing. You cannot say, we'll give him cheaper clothing. That's what it is. These three examples, and there is a few more, shows us the Jewish law looks on every Jew as a son of the King of all kings, of God. And soon we're coming to a holiday that we behave like kings, Pesach. By the Seder, every Jew sits by the Seder table like a king. His wife is the queen, and the children are the princesses and prince. And it's a tradition, an old tradition, to put on the Seder table the most expensive dishes are available. Gold, silver, it's an old Jewish thing. When somebody gives you an expensive present, a dish, a Kiddush cup, candlesticks, whatever it is, gold, silver, china, say we'll keep it for Pesach. And by the Seder, you keep all the Pesach dishes, you put on the table, the best wine available. And we sit on couches, with pillows, like kings. We are celebrating freedom. And every Jew is like a king. Because we are children when God took us out from Egypt, he took us from slavery to become his king, the kingdom of priests, his children, his elite unit, that we are all children of the king. What does this mean that God says that we are children of the king? What does this mean in real life? It's not going around and say, I'm a king, I'm a prince, I deserve the world. Something deeper than that. We're going to read in this week's Parsha, we're going Shabbos, we're going to read two Parshas. Vayakhel and Pekudei. We are completing the book of Exodus. And by the end of a book, when we finish one of the 5 books from the 5 books of Moses, we announce in the synagogue, Chazak, Chazak, venit Chazek. Let's go, let's take strength from the Torah to continue to the next book. What we read, one of the things we read about, we read how Moses gathered the old Jewish people and he told them, let's come together, we are going to build a temple. This will be an atonement for the golden calf. The Jewish people were very excited about it. They ran home, and the women were the first one to bring donations. The men tagged along, they also came to give donations. Children brought donations. And the women were so excited that in the end of the day, they showed up with the mirrors. They wanted to give the mirrors as a donation to God, to the temple. But Moses said, mirrors? What are you going to do with mirrors in a temple? In a synagogue, you're not allowed to have mirrors. You cannot pray. When you pray, you cannot look at yourself. You have to pray to God, not to yourself. It's vanity. It's like mirrors, a fake, a shul. Moses didn't want to take it. God told them, take the mirrors. They are dear to me more than everything. Why? Because in Egypt, God said, because of the mirrors, I had a generation to take out from Egypt. What happened in Egypt? In Egypt, Pharaoh wanted to make sure it was the final solution. Just like the Germans, Pharaoh separated men from women. Why? Because he didn't want them to have children. Then the women stayed in the city and the men were taken out to the field to work. And the men did not want to have kids because they said, what's the point to have children? For what? They should be slaves. They should be thrown into the river. Why? Or the women wanted to have kids. They believed that one day things will be good and they will go out of Egypt. But you want to have kids, but your husband doesn't want to. They prepared a nice meal, a nice dinner, and they beautified themselves, looked in the mirror, and then they came out to the field, found their husband, fed them. You know, a man first talk to his stomach. First feed them before you talk to them about anything else. And then used to tell them, look how you look in the mirror, look how I look. Used to seduce them and have relations under the apple tree. And have children, go back home and have children. And God said to Moses, these mirrors, to me, they are very dear. If not for these mirrors, I would never have a generation, the next generation to take him out from Egypt. What takes to have this strength? What is a child of a king? Royalty means that you are different. You know that you are different. You know you are distinct. You wear different clothing. You speak a different language, more refined language. You behave differently. Your mannerism is different. The way you eat, the way you drink, the way you sit, the way you stand. If you know, everybody knows about in the last few years was a lot of talk about the royalty in England. And there is a protocol for everything they do. In Jewish law, because we are royalty, there is a code of Jewish law. It's called the Shulchan Aruch. It tells you when you wake up what you have to do. You have to do more than you have to wash your hand. You do more than then you wash your hand. Then now you to get dressed. Right side first, then left side. How you tie your shoes. Left shoe first. Then everything is as a protocol until the minute you're going to bed. How you get undressed. Now you lay down. On which side you lay down? Everything is details. Why? Because it's royalty. That royalty has a strength, a certain strength. You're not afraid. Everybody else is different. I know. I'm distinct. I'm not like everybody else. I don't expect to be like everybody else. And because of this, we have the strength not to be impressed by the rest of the world. The women in Egypt had this special strength to be different. There is a story about a Chassid of the Alter Rebbe. Once he was in St. Petersburg, and he wanted to do something that was not appropriate to a Chassid of the Alter Rebbe. I don't know what it was. I never heard the details, but that's the story. Then he said to himself, me, a Chassid of the Alter Rebbe, will do such a thing? I'm a Chassid of the Alter Rebbe, I'm royalty. How can I do such a thing? This, when a person has this awareness that he's a child of a king, that he's expecting from himself a whole different behavior. It's not about, oh, nobody sees. No, I'm the son of a king. What he's doing, I don't care what. It doesn't even come to your mind. You're distinct. You're different. That's what it's all about. A child of a king, a son of a king, a daughter of a king, she has only one person to emulate, the king himself. Thank you.